The politics of the Gilded Age of America. Rutherford B. Hayes was a Republican president from 1876 to 1800. During his presidency, he ended Reconstruction through the Compromise of 1877. He also tried to end corruption and enforce temperance. James Garfield was president from 1880 to 1881 and was also a Republican. He was assassinated early in his presidency. Chester Arthur was also a Republican president from 1882 to 1884. He supported reforms, approved development of the Navy, and questioned the high protective tariffs. The Pendleton Act of 1881 set up the Civil Service Commission, expanded the number of government employees, and hired the employees based on their qualifications instead of their political connections. Grover Cleveland, during his first term, which was from 1884 to 1888, was a Democrat. Under his presidency, Congress passed the Interstate Commerce Act of 1887, which regulated railroad industry, focused on monopolies that controlled it. They also passed the Dawes Act of 1887, which allowed the president to divide up Native American tribal land. Benjamin Harrison was a Republican president from 1888 to 1892. He is most well known for the $1 billion Congress that occurred during his presidency. This Congress passed many acts, which included the McKinley Tariff of 1890, which raised tax on foreign products and increased the monthly pensions to Civil War veterans, widows, and children. The Sherman Antitrust Act helped distinguish between the good and the bad trusts and banned the formations that would restrict trade. The Sherman Silver Purchase Act of 1890 increased the coinage of silver. Also, under this Congress, a bill was attempted to be passed which would protect African American voting rights. It was passed in the House, but it was not passed in the Senate. During Grover Cleveland's second term, from 1892 to 1896, the Panic of 1893 occurred. This was a crash due to over-speculations. Many railroads went out of business, and many people blamed the gold standard for restricting the money. The Depression continued for 4 years, and to help the economy out of this depression, the government relied on the help from J.P. Morgan and a loan to the government. The Wilson-Gorman Tariff of 1894 was a moderate reduction in high tariff rates and an income tax on high-income families. William McKinley was a Republican president from 1896 to 1901. His presidency is known as a turning point in American politics. He is well known for helping the economy recover from the Panic of 1893. Under his presidency, the Dingley Tariff was passed, which increased tariffs. Also, the Spanish-American War of 1898 occurred. During his presidency, gold was made the official standard of U.S. in 1900. Unfortunately, McKinley was assassinated in 1901, and Theodore Roosevelt took over. During this time, there was a common belief in a hands-off government and social Darwinism, which was based on limited government powers. There was no real difference between the Democrats and the Republicans. There was close elections, so they did not take strong positions. Also, most elections were issue-free. Congress was divided in both the House and the Senate. They were both controlled by different parties. During elections, the Republicans were known to wave the bloody shirt, which was a tactic used to criticize their opponents. The Republicans relied on votes from African Americans and the middle-class businessmen. The Democrats counted on the votes of the ex-Confederate states, cities, and immigrants. Many elections riled people up, and there was a very high voter turnout. During this time, third parties in politics emerged. The Greenback Party supported paper money that was not backed by silver or gold and consisted mostly of northern farmers. This party was formed in response to the Specie Resumption Act. The Populists, also known as the People's Party, consisted of farmers in the South and the West. In 1892, Populists gathered in Nebraska and drafted a political platform known as the Omaha Platform. It
created using Powtoon.